Welcome to Cybersecurity Today. I'm your host, Jim Love. Some breaking news that came up just as we were recording this podcast. Transport for London has revealed that its recent cyber attack may have compromised sensitive customer data, including bank details of up to 5,000 individuals. The breach involved Oyster card refund data, which could expose commuters' bank account numbers and sort codes. Additionally, the cyber attack is believed to have compromised employee passwords, prompting the organization to conduct IT identity checks against its entire workforce. The UK's National Crime Agency, NCA, has confirmed the arrest of a 17-year-old male in Walsall, England, in connection with the incident, under suspicion of Computer Misuse Act offences. Deputy Director Foster from the NCA's National Cybercrime Unit stated that the agency is working closely with TfL to identify the culprits and mitigate the impact of the breach. The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, has added 3 significant vulnerabilities to its Known Exploited Vulnerabilities (KEV) catalog, signaling an increased risk for organizations. The vulnerabilities affect ImageMagick, the Linux kernel, and SonicWall Sonic OS. Of particular concern is CVE 2024-40766, a recently discovered flaw in the SonicWall Sonic OS with a critical common vulnerability scoring system, or CVSS score, of 9.3. This vulnerability could allow attackers to bypass access controls, potentially leading to unauthorized system access. The other 2 vulnerabilities, while older, remain threats. CVE 2016-3714 in ImageMagick could enable remote code execution through manipulated images, and while CVE 2017-100253 in the Linux kernel could allow local privilege escalation. CISA has mandated that federal agencies address these vulnerabilities by September 30th, 2024. IT professionals in all sectors should promptly assess their systems for these vulnerabilities and apply necessary patches or mitigations. IT professionals in all sectors should promptly assess their systems for these vulnerabilities and apply necessary patches or mitigations. You can check our show notes for the numbers and more data. Microsoft's latest Patch Tuesday has addressed over 70 security flaws, including 3 actively exploited vulnerabilities. CVE 2024-38014, a privilege escalation issue in Windows Installer with a common vulnerability score of 7.8 out of 10. A concerning bug, CVE 2024-43491, affects Windows 10 version 1507. But this critical flaw, rated 9.8 in CVSS severity, caused the operating system to silently undo previously applied updates and security patches for certain optional components, potentially leaving systems vulnerable. Other major tech companies have also released patches. Adobe fixed 35 issues across various products, including a critical flaw in Cold Fusion. Intel addressed vulnerabilities in UEFI firmware and older processors. SAP issued 19 security notes with high priority given to previously reported issues. The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, has warned about high-severity flaws in Citrix Workspace app for Windows and multiple vulnerabilities in Avanti products. Once again, IT professionals should be prioritizing reviewing and applying these patches, especially for actively exploited vulnerabilities and those affecting widely used systems. Rental car provider Avis has reported a significant data breach affecting nearly 300,000 U.S. customers. Discovered on August 5, 2024, the breach involved unauthorized access to a business application, potentially compromising sensitive customer information. The stolen data varies by customer, but might include names, mailing addresses, email addresses, phone numbers, dates of birth, credit card numbers and expiration dates, and driver's license numbers. This broad range of personal information puts affected individuals at high risk for identity theft and fraud. Avis is responding by offering 1 year of free credit monitoring to victims. The company has also hinted at a possible insider wrongdoing as the source of the breach. In response, Avis is working with cybersecurity experts to enhance security protections and implement additional safeguards. For anyone who remembers the bad old days of paper forms and long checkouts, the speed and convenience of using digital tech for rentals was a welcome innovation for the tired traveler. But the corresponding risk of your data has to be managed as well. Imagine this. You're at a tech conference in Las Vegas, escaping the scorching heat in your hotel room when you stumble across a way to potentially wreak havoc across the internet. That's exactly what happened to Benjamin Harris, a security researcher, last month. For just $20, Harris bought a domain name that used to be the official Whois server for all .mobi. Now, if you're wondering what a Whois server is, think about it as the phone book of the internet. It tells you who owns what website and how to contact them. So this is pretty important stuff. Well, here's where it gets wild. Harris set up his own Whois server on this domain, and suddenly he was flooded with millions of requests from all over the world. We're talking big tech companies, governments, universities, you name it. They were all asking Harris's server for information, thinking it was still the official source. Harris said, the purchase of a $20 domain that allowed passive inference of .gov and .mil communications and the subversion of the certificate authority verification system should be a clear demonstration that the integrity of the trust and security processes we as internet users rely on is and continues to be extremely fragile. Now, here's the kicker. With this power, Harris could have done some seriously scary stuff. He could have created fake security certificates for websites, tracked email communications, even run malicious code on thousands of computers. It's like he accidentally got handed the keys to the internet kingdom. But Harris, thankfully, is one of the good guys. Instead of exploiting this flaw, he raised the alarm. He showed how easy it would be to get a security certificate for Microsoft's .mobi domain, stopping just short of actually doing it. Harris said, now that we have the ability to issue a TLS SSL cert for a .mobi domain, we can, in theory, do all sorts of horrible things, ranging from intercepting traffic to impersonating the target server. It's game over for all sorts of threat models at this point. The scary part, this isn't just a one-off thing. It's a symptom of a bigger problem. The internet is built on trust, but that trust is often based on outdated information or systems that haven't been updated in years. Harris summed it up perfectly. The systems and security we all take for granted is, in many places, truly held together in ways that would not pass approval in 2024. So the next time you're browsing the web, remember, the security you think is protecting you might be hanging by a thread, or in this case, a $20 domain name. You're running a big industrial company, right? Everything's humming along, and then bam, one of your engineers goes rogue. This is Daniel Rhyne, a guy who knew your systems inside and out, and it really happened. Daniel was a disgruntled employee who gained unauthorized access to administrator accounts. He started locking out the admins, wiped backups, and started shutting down servers. Then he demanded $750,000 in Bitcoin. Now, Rhyne sent this ominous email to everyone in the company, basically saying, pay up or watch your business crumble. So it's like something out of a techno thriller, right? Sound crazy? It was. And of course, Rhyne got caught. The feds traced those extortion emails back to him faster than you can say disgruntled employee. But Damian Garcia, an expert in IT governance, noted, the insider threat is a very serious risk to organizations. Historically, companies have tended to overlook it, preferring to focus their efforts on external threat actors. But companies are now realizing that the insider threat is more of a problem and is something that they need to take seriously. There is a risk that we are so focused on external threats or employees' mistakes, we may forget about this serious risk if an employee goes rogue. It's a bit like that old horror movie. Sometimes the call is coming from inside the house. This situation or variations on it play out every day. Small companies are particularly vulnerable as they often have one person who has access to all accounts and passwords. So how do you deal with this? Well, most experts will tell you to ensure that you follow the rule of least privilege, ensure that when extra privileges are issued, that it's only for the purpose they're needed for, and that they're revoked when no longer needed. For more tips, check out our Cybersecurity Week in Review panel, where we'll be discussing this story. And that's our show. You can find the show notes with links at technewsday.com or .ca. Take your pick. I'm your host, Jim Love. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have a lucky Friday the 13th.